During the second week of March 1997, many Phoenix residents noticed strange lights in the sky. Each night at around 9 p.m., a curious display would appear. Throughout the week, a buzz began to build in the UFO community. Cell phones, pagers, and websites spread the word of unusual aerial activity in the skies above Phoenix. Skywatcher Tom King grabbed his bizarre but professional homemade camera and went to the Gila River Indian Reservation for a better view of the lights.
I looked at it for a few seconds and thought, it's not aircraft. I don't know what that is. I thought, it's time to go to battle on these things.
So we ran down to the cars, we got our video equipment, we went back up there with the video equipment and the telescope and the binoculars and the whole shooting match, see? And we started videotaping. Well, the first light went off. And then about 10 minutes later, a whole formation of lights came on.
They showed up again, and this time there were more of them. Then another light showed up, close to the location the first light originally did. And then a minute later, a woman screamed, "There's another one." I didn't know which one to film. They were so far apart. But then another one, another one, another one, another one came on until there were 4. I said, this is a major sighting. This doesn't happen normally. These things were close. They were about the size of your thumb with your hand extended of your thumbnail. They were like orange suns, very bright, but they illuminated nothing around them. I mean, nothing.
There's 4 of them. Look, there's 3 of them all together.
I got the third one popping.
Over to your left. There's one behind the chimney. One just flared up.
I got 4 of them. Major sighting here.
No, there's 5.
Oh!
Another one just showed up.
Whoa! Maybe somebody's setting up lights.
No, those are in the sky. Holy.
Mike Kirsten watched the lights from a position 40 miles north of where Tom King was filming. For over 3 minutes, Kirsten recorded this exciting display.
So when I saw this light, I figured, well, I'm going to get it on tape, at least show it to somebody, maybe they can tell me what it is. Well, as I was filming this light, then all of a sudden, all of this entire display and sequence of lights start to come on over here, and it was like hitting the jackpot. Figure this one out. There's a double. There's a third one. I was pretty steady with the camera. The only mistake I made at court was going in and out with the thing, and I was starting to get blossoming in the lights. But then I called my wife, and she came out here, and she was pretty excited. And what I filmed was at 10 o'clock at night, and apparently sightings of the flyover occurred from 8:15 that night all the way to 10 o'clock. That there were many, many witnesses to it. Hey, Sue, take a look at this. Submitted for your approval. What have we got here?
Oh my God!
I hit pay dirt, finally.
Well, that is a totally different configuration than we've ever seen before.
Yep.
No one knew what they were seeing, even those trained to watch the skies. A commercial pilot and his wife, an airline attendant, both were right under the baffling sight. They have chosen to keep their identities hidden.
And these lights were massive, and they were in a V shape, going southbound and moving really slow. So I listened, and there was no sound in the neighborhood, and this massive V was blocking out the stars, and the fact that it wasn't making any noise gave me a chill, I mean, right up my back.
At about the time it's right overhead, that's when I realized, I don't know what I'm looking at. It's not fighters, it's not a large aircraft. It's going so slowly that it almost appears to be floating in the sky. So I just stood there and watched it intently until it went out of sight.
Calls reporting the peculiar event poured into the Phoenix Police Department's 911 system.
We got several calls. As you know, that people don't know who to call when something like that happens, so the most obvious number that they're going to dial is 911. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do for them. We don't know if it's the Air Force, we don't know if it's a government, we don't know if it's a UFO, to be honest with you.
Citizens called nearby Luke Air Force Base to find out if it was behind the aerial show. In the weeks following March 13th, the Air Force did not comment. But the Arizona National Guard claimed it had no planes on maneuvers that evening and said its radar detected nothing unusual in the sky. Despite the denial, the Phoenix Police Department insisted that the military must have been up to something.
You've got New Mexico to the east, we got California to the west. A lot of missiles are launched on a clear night. You can see them for miles. We can see them here in Phoenix. When you see something that's unexplained, it's probably going to be something else with the Air Force or somebody doing a launch.
But many weren't buying this explanation. Phoenix City Councilwoman Frances Barwood decided to raise the issue during a council meeting.
Apparently, the Air Force or nobody is doing any investigation on it, and I'd just like to know if anybody has any information from the city and if the city is checking into it. Apparently, from what I saw on television, it was about the size of a football field, and there was 7 lights, and they all moved together like they were attached to something. So we don't know if it was a prank or, you know, something that was just huge out there, but, you know, kind of curious, especially since people are starting to ask more questions. Thanks. Thank you.
There was this silence, and then they went on. And it was like, okay, what was wrong? After the meeting, one of the deputy city managers came over to me and said they really didn't want to deal with it, and I shouldn't have asked the question, that I opened Pandora's box.
Following the meeting, Barwood was ridiculed in the press and by some colleagues in City Hall. To Councilwoman Barwood and many puzzled citizens, it was clear the city had no intention of taking her seriously or conducting an investigation. Next, what did thousands of witnesses see in the night sky on March 13th? Was it a giant flying saucer from another world? Or something else? The UFO community believes someone in the military must know the truth. The March 13, 1997 sighting over Phoenix was one of the most widely viewed UFO events ever recorded. Thousands of witnesses reported seeing the lights, and it was captured on videotape, making this UFO sighting unique.